All right, let's bring in Zineb Riboua, a research fellow for the Center for Peace and Security in the Middle East at the Hudson Institute. Good to be with you again, Zineb. So I wanted to start off with the United Arab Emirates. And Fox has confirmed that they have been attacking Iran. They've been engaging in kinetic activity. This was something that you predicted was going to happen about a week ago. So what does this mean?
Yeah, this is a very important development. It means actually two things. The first one is that the Gulf countries are united and that the UAE, especially with the help of the United States, but also of Israel, is able to attack back and to retaliate, but also show the way for other Gulf countries to take a stake in their own security. The fact that the IRGC is weaponizing the Strait of Hormuz should not be tolerated by anyone in the region. And second, it's also a message to the IRGC. They thought that by firing at Kuwait, at Qatar, at the UAE, at Saudi Arabia, it will unite these Gulf countries and go against Trump and against the operation. This has not happened, and in fact, the IRGC was also hoping to mobilize the Arab Street, really saying that this is against the Zionist and the U.S.-American attack. None of it happened. Yeah. That's a very big deal.
Yeah, that was a serious miscalculation on their part. So I talked to the president yesterday. He said that he's going to continue with the blockade. He may return to Project Freedom to start escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz. He said that would only be a part of it. I mean, this is a stranglehold on the Iranian economy. And we were talking just before we came on here that, you can drop a bomb on something, the result is instantaneous. You do something economically, it takes longer for the impact to be felt, but sometimes the impact can be even greater. Where is the Iranian economy now, and can the regime hold out?
I think that the Iranian economy is absolutely collapsing, and one can just take a look at what the attacks did on the industrial base and how the Ministry of Iran is talking about labor and how there is a huge youth unemployment to the point where they're fighting each other. The officials of Iran are on which numbers are correct or not. And so each ministry right now is coming up with its own numbers. And most importantly, it shows in the prices. It shows in the drug prices. 400% increase, especially in drug prices. A lot of the system of the industry, the petrochemical, but also the steel industry, they are very important for those workers that need to keep the economy going, especially given the internet shutdown. So basically what has happened is that while people are talking about a ceasefire, there's also an invisible war, and it's the Operation Economic Fury, which is really imposing a cost, actually not just on Iran, but also on China, on a lot of its companies, shipping companies, but also satellite imagery companies that have been helping the IRGC.
To that end, the president will be heading to China very soon, leaving this afternoon. Iran is obviously going to be a big topic of conversation. And there's some thought that China, which is already acting as a bit of a mediator with Pakistan to try to resolve the conflict, might be able to twist the arms of the Iranian regime and bring them to the table. What do you think?
I think it's very possible because this is also hurting them. It's hurting a lot of their companies. It's hurting a lot of their relationship with Gulf countries. It's very important to remember that China does not have just a relationship with Iran, but also with Saudi Arabia and other countries. And these countries, they're seeing right now how a lot of Chinese companies are involved in helping the IRGC target them in their own territories.
Yeah. We should point out that while China gets 10%, 11% of its oil from Iran, it gets 30% of its oil from Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Iraq. And if that oil is not flowing through the strait, that does hurt China. Zineb, great to see you. Thanks for coming in today. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.